Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So it has been a while since we covered the Marianas campaign, but today we are going to be continuing. Now, I do want to say as a forward on this, I did actually record this turn once before, about a week or, no, about 2-3 weeks, might have been longer than that. Now, I did get quite frustrated about it due to the fact that I was labouring under the impression, quite wrongly, that amphibious invasions really were... I suppose the things I got very used to playing as Japan, where you don't need as much in the way of preparation, but we have since learned our lesson, and I'm just going to say we should have actually had our forces prepared to land at Pagan, but hey, it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the actual turn, and yeah, we'll make the most of it. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I did ask Major some questions regarding the landings. Obviously, he's a very experienced player, and it's always worthwhile asking a question. But indeed, we'll make the best of it. So go ahead and take a look at the turn. There we go. So just bear that in mind what I said at the start there. It does feel good to be back though. It's nice to play the allies. Yeah, unfortunately the Violet Filia hits a mine very bombardment. Yeah, I'm gonna be very careful about getting that close. Okay, so you can see that our actual strike aircraft continue to actually hit the Japanese ships out here, which is very nice. At the end of the day, I'd imagine he probably suspected what we were going for, or potentially he must have had some idea. But nonetheless, this is all good. At the end of the day, if we are hitting these Japanese assets, it's going to ideally prevent them from becoming a problem when we do conduct the further landings against Saipan and Guam itself. But we'll see. Okay. Yep, so we do have some of our Helldivers over here, and we do find a couple of Japanese submarine chasers. We were very fearful about Japanese, I suppose you could call it a rapprochement. might be the nice way of saying it. We were very worried about Japanese raids against our forces over here. Thankfully, we do have our forces on standby here. Sadly, no hits, one damaged Helldiver. Unfortunately, no hits there. Now, I do need to actually sort out those submarines of their Baldwar. I've been guilty of not being as on the ball in this campaign. Yeah, that hurts. Got to stop sending them over there. See, the thing is, it's like I send them on these patrol patterns, and then I forget to actually edit the patrol patterns. So, 4 hits on the Cavalier. Or Cavalier? I think it's Cavalier. But yeah, we do see that there are ships over there. The combined fleet is not too distant. I imagine that they should be nearing the scenario by now. They might yet have already arrived. Not certain. I can't remember the date that they do arrive in the actual theatre, but we'll see. So we do see RO-43 here. We do see our forces closing in on Pagan as well. Okay, the Franks is attacking. I mean, Allied ASW warfare is just remarkably effective. Even in deep waters, it's very effective. But it's significantly more effective than Japanese ASW. Lots of rattling here, but that's still going to cause damage. We'll move up, yeah. So only 2 hits there, but at the end of the day, that's going to cause some issues there for the actual Japanese submarines. So do see RO-114 here as well. Something to look out for. So far, so good. So far, so good there, really. No exceptional damage. Though saying that there's 11 hits now, so I must have been missing that one. Okay, so air operations here at the AM. Now, apparently we are seeing Japanese carrier aircraft, but the thing is, obviously that is probably in reference to the A6M2Zeros in that area. Now, we did deploy a lot of forces around this actual landing here. It's going to be interesting to see how we actually go from here, really, how to make the most of it. Now, Pagan isn't going to be too easy to take, but it is going to be probably the easier island to take of all of them, really. Okay, so we see the sub-chasers to the north. Level bombers, 3 Japanese ships, 2 Japanese ships. Yeah, the sub-chaser there is hit. Japanese submarine reported hit there. Very good. Yep, reported hit there, but landing barge. Though it might have been something else. That's definitely a landing barge was hit. So our aircraft are causing him issues here. I mean, we are hitting a lot of them. A lot of those actual patrol boats, which aren't really much of an issue. So we have our 38 F6 F3 Hellcat sweeping Pagan. Yep, here comes the actual bombardment from the air. Now, we do cause 88 Japanese casualties. We disabled 2 squads here. 14 non-combatants are disabled. 2 engineer squads are disabled, so not too bad. Now, we did hit from 10,000 feet, using 2 500-kilogram bombs. Sorry, pound bombs. Yep, here we go. Significantly more forces against the actual sub-chasers over here. Don't imagine they'll make it out this time. The thing is, you do not want to be hit by one of these bombs, yeah. That is a 1,000-pound bomb. That's really... Ooh, wow, yeah, okay. Ooh, you do not come back from that. A sub-chaser does not come back from that. Not many ships come back from that. Very good. Really nice accuracy here from the Helldivers. These are small targets as well, so that is impressive. Yep, and she goes down. Mission successful there. Yep, sub-chaser CH-18 and CH-21 both go down there. I mean, that's 2,000 pounds of bombs, 4,000 pounds of bombs. That's a lot of firepower there. Now, bear in mind the landings, remember what I said at the start of the episode? It hurt me. It wasn't that bad, really. But I got really frustrated on the original recording of the actual stream, and I felt that wasn't very good. So I wanted to come back here when I'm just, yeah, more relaxed about it. Okay. I mean, our aircraft are doing well here. That's the number of hits there on the actual submarine. Now, it looks like it was the one that took 11 hits, which would make sense. If it's taking hits, it's going to be somewhat easier to actually discover. Okay, our Avengers come in here. 18 casualties inflicted. Right, so we'll see the landings here shortly. Cavalier. Yeah, I need to get her out of here and obviously go. She might be able to sustain further operations, but I've got to be stopped. I've got to stop being so foolhardy and stop being lazy. Now here we go with the California bombarding here. We did send a number of surface ships like this. Nothing too modern, really. Yeah, those 6 14-inch guns. So keep things going. Pennsylvania, San Francisco, Minneapolis, Birmingham, Santa Fe, Montpelier, Twining. There we go. So, the only issue here then is, well, not so bad at the beginning here. We do inflict 537 casualties, 1 squad disabled, sorry, 1 destroyed, 16 disabled, 4 non-combatants destroyed, 58 disabled, 2 engineers disabled. It's the actual land in itself here that hurts. Yeah. That does hurt, but I really overreacted in the original stream in here. This is what really bugged me. Because I could have and should have actually changed the planning to Guam. It wouldn't have been as bad, but hey, we'll take it. So, 186 squads disabled, 326 disabled, 135 guns disabled, 48 vehicles disabled. Now, these are disabled. They can be recovered in time, so yeah, that was the real thing there. But it did annoy me, because I'm thinking, God, why did I make such a terrible mistake there? But hey, it is part of the learning process. And, well, it's better to make a mistake here than to make it in the larger play-by-email. But this is it, it's like I'm really very accustomed to playing as Japan, not to playing as the actual Allied forces, so I really got a surprise there. Okay. But it'd be interesting to actually take a look at the state of affairs here. Our forces have arrived here at Pagan, and I'm looking forward, so notice to save there was called Pagan's Pain, which is really awesome there by John. Is it John? I'm going to say Major. I end up forgetting people's names if I don't speak to them too often, unfortunately. But he's a superb guy. Amazing Scottish accent. Okay, so we'll take a look at the forces on the ground over here then. So we still have 3,482 infantry active, 7,506 there. Now, as to whether that's actually including the disabled forces or not, but we have 244 assault value here. If we take a look at these forces, fatigue's up there, so they're going to take some time to actually rest and recover. So if we take a look, but the good news is we do actually have, so we have the amphibious tractors over here, which is the naval support, which is very good, so that helps us to actually unload forces. So they have planned for, yeah, these guys all have planned for Guam, as you can see. Now, I suppose the question is, well, do I keep that planning for Guam? We've got the assets on the ground here. I've got some naval support here. Now, if I take a look over here on the actual amphibious landings, so we still have 2,000 men aboard over here then. Yeah, there we go. I think what we do then is we actually have the forces actually plan here. At least the forces still on board the ships, it would probably make sense. At least then we might be able to mitigate losses here. So we'll set the plan in here for Pagan. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because obviously it takes them down to only a small amount of planning for Pagan, but it's still worthwhile, I suppose. But those units can be recovered in time. We'll be able to build up a lot of logistics over here and a lot of support over here. So it shouldn't take us too long, but I need to secure Pagan to actually have control of the actual airfield. Now, originally we were looking to strike towards one of the other islands to the south, but we did decide upon Pagan. And I think it was the bolder choice of them all, but I think it is going to be worthwhile. Now, as for what sort of strength is actually on the island, I'm not entirely sure. But what we'll have to do then is just hold our positions for the time being, allow our men just to rest a little bit and just build up their strength. Allow the rest of the men to be unloaded, and then we can take a look what we can do here. But I do have the ability to bombard, so I'm going to probably look towards increasing the amount of bombardment in the area. Using the big guns of the Navy. Now, air power potentially so as well. I do have oilers heading over here to the north, which is excellent. Because that allows me to just keep my forces off, well, offshore longer, really, until we're actually ready to come in here. As to what he will do in response to this, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll be able to see about that in the future. Right, so Pagan. Right, okay, that's good then. So if we take a look over here then. Some of our forces are a little bit low in fuel, but we do have some destroyer escorts. We do have a patrol frigate over here as well. These guys are here just to give us additional security, really. A lot of actual destroyers. If I take a look over here, then you can see that the 14-inch guns are low in ammunition. We do still have the 5-inch guns on the Pennsylvania. It's an old battleship at this point, isn't it? We do have the California as well, which is a Tennessee class. You can see, again, low in ammunition. Okay. So, I'm not entirely certain how much force is actually on the island. It's one of these things of, well, is it worth actually attacking? Can I get anything from the operations report about Pagan? Not operations report, combat log. Okay, so we hit the mine there, which is a shame. Also, she'll have to head back. Yeah, see, I don't know anything about his actual numbers per se, or about his actual strength. So what could be worthwhile doing is potentially launching a bombardment just to get a measure of his actual strength there in the area. Now, if we take a look, we do have... right, 1,300 supplies here. We do have 37,000 tons of supply to be unloaded here, so we do have plenty of supply. So I think what we're going to do here then is I'm going to have all these forces actually planned for Bagan as well. I think I'm going to give up the plan for Guam. I can have them planned later. Should have done this previously, they would have been in a much better state. But it is what it is, and we'll make the best of it. The good news is I do have the aviation support over here, which is excellent. Because as soon as we do take the base, these guys are in position. But it does give us... yeah, I mean, these guys are just aviation support. So unfortunately, they don't contribute any additional support there. But I do have the CBs over here, so that's engineer vehicles, engineers. So that's handy. Once we actually do take the base, we'll be ready to go. These guys aren't fighters, but that little bit of naval support there does definitely help us out. Yeah, as you can see here, a few of these squads were disabled. So we'll have to see them. We'll have to wait for our firepower to recover there. But we still have the Marine regiments, which do still have some decent firepower still, which is very good. So I think what we'll do here then is, well, we'll see here. Yeah, it's a lot of fatigue there on these units. But I do need to do something to actually get an idea of how much is there. It might be worthwhile going for the bombardment, but I think what we'll do then is we'll wait an additional day. 1 or 2 days, allow my forces to actually rest here, recuperate. You can see their table equipments have taken a beating there, but thankfully these losses will recover quite quickly. I may have enough assault value to take the island, but I'm not going to be risking it. Right, so we have our destroyers over here. They're going to continue to run these patrols in this area. Right, a number of a number of submarines here. Okay, so what do we discover out here then? So we do see a number of actual ships over there. Yeah, way too close. I'm going to patrol around the rear of Baldoir. Well, to what degree I can anyway. So we'll leave it about that. In terms of damage, actually not that bad. Yeah, you took the actual major damage there from that mine. Yeah, so you're heading back. Cruise speed's fine, yep. She's crippled. Which is understandable, really. Okay, what we're going to do here then is take a look at the actual signal intelligence. Okay, so 9,112 men are based at Iwo Jima. That's very good information there. Radio transmission detected a truck. A Japanese midget submarine is moving to Guam. So we have all these forces over here then. We do have these guys. I don't know what they're wanting to do. I think these are these mine? Yeah, they're minesweepers, okay. What I'm going to have them do is replenish. I'm going to have them actually meet this task force over here then. So the actual amphibious task force and have them merge. Not a bad thing, just have additional assets there. So I do have something here on surface combat, but I'm going to have that merge into the actual amphibious task force itself. Right, there we go. Then we're an ASW. It doesn't look like we've detected mines, so that's good news then. Okay, what I'm going to do then, bring these forces over here. Yeah, additional destroyers over here too. I don't imagine he's going to challenge me landings. I don't think he has that capability to do so, to be honest. Like, I'm low on ammunition, but that's still not too bad. I still have a lot of firepower here. They're set to absolute, and they will remain here until the mission is done, come what may. Our forces over here are spotted, it seems. Right. We do have the replenishment over here too. Right, okay. Looks like we have been refueled over here. Yep, near enough full, which is excellent. So what I'm going to do here then is tell them to go refuel this task force. Yep, low amounts of fuel here. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to have them move off towards over here, actually. The reason being is I'd like to actually try and gather information around about this area. So that puts us about, let's see, we're about 4 hexes away from Pagan, 6 from Saipan, 8 from Guam. Well, we know he has a range to actually hit us out this way. Are we spotted here? We are spotted here, so what we're going to do then is begin to move as well. So move to about that position there. But in fact, we'll move over here to the north, actually. That position puts us 4 hexes away as well, so we'll have the carriers here and here. Want to make sure they're close enough to actual fleet assets to support them. Right, they're heading in there for SW. Plenty of submarines here in the area. Flying fish over here. I was trying to flood the actual waters over here with submarines just to, if he does attempt to move something, I want it to be hit by submarines. I do not imagine he will do, to be honest. I just don't imagine he's going to do it. These guys are on escort for some reason or other. Oh, right, it's due to the actual nature of what's in them, isn't it? Right, so we do have Atinian landed forces over here. Atinian being another prospect entirely there, really. I do not know why they're heading back. Replenish at sea. Head over there to the north. Though in fact I should probably have a move, I mean it depends on how much they have in way of aircraft. They've got 168 aircraft, how many fighters do they actually have? So a good number here. Fatigue's not bad at all. It's only on 1 squadron where the fatigue's even a little bit high. We'll go for 70-30, it's a little bit too high having it like that. Okay, what we're going to do here then is... we'll go with escort, but what I'm going to do here then is cancel that. So I'll go for 60-40 actually. What's the range of these guys? Right, we'll take it down to normal. So all fighters here do that. Right, there we go. Move them to about that position over there, really. Actually saying that, probably not a wise idea. Move them to that position there. And they can linger. They're going to be there just to try and intercept the enemy forces if they do move that way. So I do have additional oilers moving up over this way, which is fantastic. We do have a lot of fuel here. We've done a lot of things in the works. It's almost too much in the way of actual assets to actually reasonably work with. Pretty crazy like that. Right, so meet that task force over there. What I'm going to tell you to do is just follow it. Retirement is allowed. Yeah. Oh no. Was already allowed. Right, retirement is allowed. Those forces are heading north. So what I'm going to be looking towards doing here then is, let's see. Fatigue's building over here, so what I'm going to do then. So running 40-20, which is weird. Well, what we're going to do here then is run 60-40 with the vast majority of our actual carrier fighters. What's the actual range here then? They don't need to be running with drop tanks. Well then again, actually I suppose they could do with having the drop tanks there. Put it to 8. So carrier fighters, there we go. So those are going to be the mainstay fighters, obviously looking after the actual carriers itself. These guys... What I'm going to do then is run 70% long-range combat patrol over Pagan. Well, they have very low fatigue actually, so I'm going to run at 80-20. So I'll run it over this task force over here. So over task force 37, and that's going to be Nightborn combat patrols. These guys are running the same. Right, they do need a decent bit of rest. But what I'll do then is... These guys are going to be purely for the escorts. So put their range up. One to run in the day. One to run in the night. Okay. These guys are going to be a mixed bag. Take the one over here. Due to the fact that they have very low fatigue, what I'm going to do then is have them run basically open. We have different ranges set here, but basically what we're doing here then is I've got some fighters that are for the nighttime, some for the daytime. These guys over here then, that they would be actually running the escort for any flights. What I'll do is actually have you run long-range combat patrol, though you have a lot of fatigue, actually. We'll have you just run escorts then, I suppose. Right, you. Okay, you can run it over these guys in the daytime. Okay. So you can actually run to 9 hexes. But we'll run with 8 then, as that's what we have our fighter set to the, for the most part. Rather than with increased levels of search. Okay, the Dauntlesses I'm going to use actually for ground attacks, really. No, I don't think we saw anything in the way of actual... No, I don't think I saw anything in the way of, like, actual, flak. At least I don't recall seeing any flak. So I'm going to run these guys at Pagan. Well, over Pagan. So the Dauntless is going to do this. Right, okay. So what they're going to be doing then is bringing these 1,000-pound bombs or the 500-pound bombs, whichever we actually have available. But we're going to be using them to actually pound over here. Right, the torpedo bombers. No. Okay, so yeah, they carry those two 500-pound bombs, that's fine. We'll go 6,000 feet. Set all torpedo bombers to do that. Well, what I'm going to do is actually put on 10% rest there to make sure that it... Well, then again, no, we might as well. We can keep this going. So we're going to have 93 torpedo bombers actually hitting the air... Well, hitting the actual base here. If I could use other assets, I would. Right, so we do have these forces over here, then. Hey, named after me. Much of as a decent bit of rest needed now. So we do have Idaho and New Mexico over here. Well, to be honest, I shouldn't be heading where the actual carriers are, considering they're already detected. What I'll do is head down this way. Got to try and really move in unpredictable directions. Oh, you're carrying Appellation, then. Appellation is for Saipan, okay. Right, just keep following. These guys are detected as well. These carry elements for Tinian. Okay, so, I mean, the thing is, it's like we could potentially hit one of the other islands, but I'd rather deal with Pagan first. Which ain't exactly great, because it means I'm going to keep these guys, like, spinning plates in the meantime. But it is what it is, really. I need to get these support elements into Pagan as soon as I possibly can. I mean, these Liberators, do they have the range to reach Pagan? No, not yet. This is why it's very important, because once we take Pagan, that means that we actually have a lot of potential support there. Like, we've got these aviation base forces, which is fantastic. Like, these guys, we look there, there's 49 aviation support immediately ready to go there on the first turn, which is fantastic that we do take the base. So what we'll do then is we'll wait for our additional assets to actually arrive on the island. Once we build up that supply, then we'll attack. Okay, so we unloaded over here. What I'm going to do then is put these guys at port. What I'm going to do then is patrol around in Wartok. Right, there we go. So yeah, it is all building up over here at Pagan, because once we do take the base over here at Pagan, then we're good to go. What I'm going to do then is just recover some of that fatigue, allow the rest of the actual infantry units to unload, and then once we have some additional combat power, we'll be in a much better position. Yeah, once we have that, then we can begin to actually really seriously take a look at what we can do here. The good news is, I mean, he's more than likely going to bombard us, I'd imagine. But we'll use air power to hit him. I mean, he's been bombarded pretty heavily. He'll be bombarded again. And then combine that with the air power. Right. What I'm going to do is actually set up another bombardment force over here then. So I'm going to take the Idaho and the New Mexico. Their minimum bombardment range is going to be, I'll say, 15,000. Oh, it could be 16,000 for these guys. Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? They have... Okay. We'll say 16,000 then. No escort bombardment. So these guys are going to go out here and bombard Pagan as well. The reason for that is because we actually do have... Let's see, where are they? Right, that's cargo, that's... Where's the actual landed forces with the support? Is it over here? Not you, not you. Where are they? Ah, here they are. This must be it then, yeah. Yeah, we do have all those auxiliary pairs. We do have 1, 2, 3. So we have the Mount Hood, the Lassen, and we have the Pyro. Now, the reason why this is very important is the fact that once these guys have their actual tenders full up, they can, and they should be able to rearm battleships, which is going to be exceptional there, really. So what we're going to do then is once Pagan falls, is I'm going to use Pagan as my rearmament station. So I'd be able to potentially rearm the actual battleships themselves, which is really good. The 14-inch guns aren't the largest guns ever, so that's really quite nice. So be able to use them effectively to just bombard the island. Should be very nice. And we take a look over here then. So we have a port size of level 3 over there at Pagan, which is good news. I could begin to build up that port if necessary as well. I'm tempted to bombard just to get an idea of how strong he actually is. I think I'll bombard with the 305th RCT. So Regimental Combat Team. Well, we'll take a look at the actual universe, see what they actually have in terms of guns. And they all seem to have like the same sort of guns. Right, the Regimental Combat Team. Oh, they've got 155s. Well, they've only got 2 of them. They've got a few 105s. It's mostly Borsers. I suppose what we're going to do here is bombard then. We'll have additional forces landed. We still have a decent bit of strength as well. Fatigue will be a big issue, but we need to just really ramp up the fatigue on the defenders of Pagan. So what I'm going to do over here then is much the same as earlier. I'm going to use the actual torpedo bombers to actually hit the island. The reason being, if I can really cause him as much damage as possible, that'd be brilliant. US doctrinage, I mean the actual US carriers, as far as it goes, it's really the actual dive bombers that do a lot. The torpedo bombers are very useful, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather use them in this sort of mission for the time being. Okay, so set all carrier torpedo bombers to that. There we go. So that'll be another 85. So we've got, what, 93, 85. So that's over 100, nearly 200 torpedo bombers that'll be coming in there. A few, I think I might have a Dauntlesses do it as well, but I think with these guys that are heading out here, it's one of these things. Is it worthwhile? Well, I'm going to say yes. Right. These guys need to look after themselves here. They're running 9 patrols, that's fine by me. Same for these guys as well, that's fine. They can run long range. But I'll have 30% on combat patrol as well. Okay, so what we're going to do here then is grab some of these fighters. We'll grab them from, let's say, San Jacinto. Sweep a gun. Sweep a gun at night. The reason why I'm doing these sweeps is to make sure that if he does indeed send any aircraft over there, that we can potentially shoot them down, which would be worthwhile. But yeah, we absolutely need Pagan. Once Pagan falls, then we actually do have a solid position there in the Marianas. We actually do have one of the actual islands of the Marianas. And I can use that, and I can base heavy bombers out there, but I can base bombers, I can base land-based fighters, I can just, anything and everything will be able to be based there. The airfield is a size 5, which is exceptional, but what I'd like to do is immediately, I mean, ideally, a decent part of the airfield does survive the coming battle, but I'd like to actually have a larger of an airfield as possible there. But having a Pagan, which is only 7 hexes from Guam, 5 from Tinian, and 4 from Saipan would be amazing. Like, you imagine the turnaround of the heavy bombers, like, holy moly. But it's not even so much the heavy bombers that become significantly more useful. It's like I'd be able to use the actual tactical aircraft. Like the medium bombers and light bombers, they become significantly more useful. But that's it really, isn't it? You don't, well, I mean, this is it. I suppose it goes by the actual payload. But then it might be a case of numbers and just like service rating. So if I take a look over here, then, so we take a look at the heavy bombers. The Liberators have... So they've got a service rating of 4. And they do carry like 10 500-pound bombs, which is I mean, well, that's 5,000 pounds of bombs. I mean, that's like, that's no bloody laughing matter, is it? Like, come on. But if we take a look, medium bombers, I don't actually have any here, but I'll take a look at the other islands where we'll have some. Not here. Nor here. Right, okay, so I've got Mitchells over here. See, the Mitchells carry 6 500-pound bombs, so they're no jokes either. What's their service rating? Their service rating's 3 as well, which is good news. So that means I could use bombers of that nature, really. Light bombers. As to whether I actually have any light bombers in the area. Don't particularly think so. I don't think I actually have any. Yeah, that's currently additional assets over there. Yeah, with aircraft already aboard. But we do have more men on the way, which is very good news. I mean, that's a lot of men on the way. A lot of equipment. A lot of fuel, a lot of supply. Like, as soon as we take the island, then we're in a really good position. So we'll bombard it via air, via land, and via sea this turn. The actual land forces will probably take a bit of a pasting, but not even that much. I don't imagine the actual Japanese garrison will have that much. Like, they have supposedly 82 guns there. One armored fighting vehicle, it seems. We have 253 guns here available. I think these are actually guns available. 177 vehicles. And like, let's actually take a look at what we actually have in terms of vehicles. Like, do we actually have any tanks on here? Like, actual tanks? We've got half-tracks, which is superb. Only a few half-tracks, though. Engineers, engineer vehicles. Support, motorized support. I mean, those are the things that took the pasting on the landings. Which is a shame. Yeah, so no tanks actually as of yet are on the island. But that's fine. I mean, this is it. None of these islands are really suited to, like, actual tanks. So it's one of these things really, isn't it? But I think that's going to be well enough. I mean, let's take a look at the actual weather. The weather's going to be partly cloudy then, supposedly. We do have, yeah, it's all deep ocean around here. But we have deployed a lot of assets, so we are going all in on Pagan. So I think a bombardment here then really just ramp up the actual damage against the Japanese garrison. I think we can take a look at really just take a look at the state of affairs for Pagan then. I don't know how much they'd have in terms of supply. I'd imagine they'd have a decent amount of supply out here at Pagan. But we'll see about that. We'll see what the level of fortification could be like as well in the future once we do launch actual attacks. But yeah, I've got to get a feel for how these forces actually are looking. If I can see what their assault value is, then I can really make a informed decision as to whether we attack sooner rather than later, really. Like, the fatigue on our forces is a limiting factor, but we should be able to bounce that out pretty quickly. Ideally so, but we'll see. We'll see about that. So I'm going to go ahead and submit the turn. There we go. Save it over, send that off. And we'll see how that goes. So I'd like to say a big thank you here, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay, and I hope you guys enjoy this. Until next time, thank you and goodbye. Do subscribe for more, so as XTRG on YouTube and XTRG on Twitch. Please do consider supporting my channel by following me there on Twitch and hitting the bell icon here on YouTube as well. If you do enjoy my content, you would like to support my content and really support me as a content creator, then please do consider becoming a patron of mine. It really does help me out. Until next time, thank you and adios.